I want to make a sequel to King of Cats.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I can contribute to the overall story arc. What about the story arc? Well, think National Treasure with less.
Interesting idea. Welcome to our podcast. This is Josh.
I'm David.
I'm Steven.
Steven's joining us today. Glad to have him here. It's been a long time. Glad to have us both here. Today's topic is going to be World War I movies. Why aren't there more of them, and why?
Okay. When you first told me the idea, I said, yeah, Wonder Woman movie's coming out, and it's staged in World War I. And then you stopped talking. What else you got?
Okay, well, let me ask you this. How many World War I movies can you name?
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay.
Johnny Got His Gun. That's it.
That's a good one, though.
That is good.
Great.
But again, it's because it's in a Metallica video.
Oh, what about the one movie with Robert Redford and Elliot from E.T. gets sent to France in like a time loop, and he gets all shot up, and then he gets mustard gas and gets dead.
I think you made that up.
No.
That's a real movie?
Yeah, it's like the river runs through it, or the river town.
Oh, that's right.
That.
There is a small...
Yeah.
No, it's not The River Runs Through. It's the next movie he made.
It's something
I know
like that.
I know what you're talking about. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm sure.
And then Paths of Glory, Stanley Kubrick.
I don't know that movie.
That's a great movie. Check it out.
I know of it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's hard, isn't it? But how many World War II movies can you name?
Oh, God.
Maybe 2.
Okay, but
100.
Civil War, tons of movies about that too.
Yeah.
So, why aren't there more of them? The ones that they made are pretty good.
Because it's fucking scary as shit, man. You're in a trench for hours, and then you get the siren, and you go run and get shot. Or mustard gas. We've also had barbed wire. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see D-Day. They want to see Bridge Over the River Kwai. That's Korean. What's the one? Tango, Tango, Tango?
Yeah. Bora, Bora, Bora.
Bora, Bora, Bora. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, who's the villain of World War One?
Another white guy. Also impossible to sell. We got it with Hitler, but thank God for the Asians.
No, there is no mass murderer like you had with Hitler.
No.
Or there was no Napoleon to go against. There's no guy.
Centralized enemy.
Yeah, it's just
Incompetence was the enemy.
Yeah.
And World War I or every war?
World War I, it was all the idea of the war was the bad guy. There wasn't some guy you can point to and say, let's get him.
It was machinations of treaties.
Yeah.
What caused World War I.
Which is exciting as
So without a
doing
democratic
taxes.
political system, like an established political structure, you're okay.
Yeah, but my
That
point
sounds
is
like fascism. Thanks,
that
Josh.
doesn't make
That
for a
sounds
good,
like Nazism.
that doesn't make for a good movie. It's not cinematic, right?
Have you ever seen any Nazis in any movies?
Yeah, they're perfect enemies.
Apology accepted.
Yeah, it's just World War II is more photogenic.
Because there's black people in World War II, Josh. You are just riding this train right off the rails, sir.
I'm just saying.
I like Cuba Gooding Jr. in that one movie that I have to watch every year on Christmas. I don't know what it's called. Pearl Harbor, maybe?
Pearl Harbor?
You guys ever seen that?
Oh yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Oh, God.
And so historically accurate too.
It's so bad. I have to watch it every year. Like, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, I just day drink at 9 a.m. and forget the day and look at Rachel McAdams.
I also think another reason World War I isn't as popular as a movie subject is, after World War II, some people won. We won. And the baby boom happened and the 50s happened. Good things happened after the war was over.
Germany finished their reparations in 2012. Reparations to France for World War I. Like 2012 was a fall.
Yeah.
What the shit is that about?
But after World War I, no one was happy. There's no winners at the end of World War I.
The Americans.
Okay, the Americans. That's it. And even then, you could argue maybe we weren't,
No, we were the boss. Like, we got the guns, we got the population, we have the resources. We're a powerhouse. We're a superpower.
Superpower. But a lot of people at the time didn't feel comfortable with that, so it wasn't like a full
Yeah, it's because Republicans wanted to pull everything back to the state after the war was over. Well, it really ended in 2012. I don't know if they just established that or not.
So the country wasn't as unified as it was after World War II.
The United States?
Yeah.
Well, no. As soon as they passed the billboard on the highway, they'll completely forget about it. Conservative American firsters got elected overwhelmingly in Congress, and we pulled back from the world, except for Admiral Arthur Thayen Mayer, who understood, based on what we learned from the Spanish-American War, we should really use our Navy to expand our economic power.
David is getting his master's in history, if you didn't pick that up.
Or you could just read a book and learn it yourself.
That's
read
true.
a book, Josh.
So my favorite thing to go back to World War One is favorite thing about World War One, it separates it from every other war, is that it's just such a series of no one really knows why they're fighting, right?
Yeah.
No one really knows what's going on. You have these various it's.
Are you talking about the beginning of or during?
The whole thing, from the beginning, before the beginning. So that, if I may use an analogy, there's something called a photomultiplier. What it is particle of light hits something, and then it sends a signal up a detector to let you know that something happened, right? Because it's called a multiplier because it means that if something happened down here, you got to multiply that effect so that you can figure it out. World War One is that.
I just blacked out for a second. I'm sorry.
World War One is that, right? Archduke is assassinated. A minor event, really, in world history. The footnotes of history.
Yeah,
right?
nobody cared about the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Except it set off a strange Rube Goldberg device of events.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what's so interesting about World War One. It's just this Rube Goldberg setup of all these chains and levers that if you happen to switch just the right one, it's going to cascade down. And millions of people will die for reasons that are lost. There is no centralized, the Jews are causing all of our problems, or they have weapons of mass destruction. It's nothing like that. It's just
we're going to end slavery.
Yeah.
There's no cause behind it.
There is no single cause. It's just a network of causes.
Yeah.
That were tripped by one tiny event.
It's like Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's like U.S. entrance into Vietnam. I mean, thanks Marshall Plan.
But see,
you saved Europe, but kind of fucked over everything else.
Even with Vietnam, right? You could still say, you're going against communism, right? You can still have a reason, however you feel about that reason. It's still a reason.
No, I just mean all the political entrenchments that brought the United States into involvement in Southeast Asia.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Not the first one.
How did the United States get Southeast Asia?
Well, okay, you have the Marshall Plan.
Right.
You have the Marshall Plan. Okay. So all this money's getting poured into recovery of Europe. Mm-hmm. At the loss were all of the Asians because they don't look like white people. Seriously. So they get 10% of the general former empire country recovery system. Mm-hmm. It's all Europe. They're white. This cascades and cascades and cascades. So we have to protect France's colonies. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
Yeah.
Are you nodding at me because I'm talking down to you?
No. You're going.
Okay. So because we got to protect France's involvement because they're going to need monies to rebuild their country, let's get involved and help protect them.
Right.
And then apocalypse now. Just like that. I mean, literally, it was just like that.
But I think that on it's what you're saying, Stephen, is especially true to the soldiers. Like the guy on the ground. Like in World War II, you can say, I'm fighting Nazis, right?
Yeah.
In World War One,
what's that? Border.
What's the regular guy's motivation?
Yeah.
Right.
And to get back to movies, that's a complicated narrative you're going to have to tell. Why are these people fighting?
It's so much easier if you just compartmentalize one thing, look at that, make an hour-and-a-half movie, and then hope it sells.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the movies about World War One have focused either on one event or a character study.
There's no fall of the Third Reich for the First World War.
Yeah.
Like you know the movie.
And the way it ends is just, we're going to keep fighting and killing each other up to the very last minute, 11:11.
That's how bad.
11:09.
Because that's the rule. We're still governed by rules.
We have to kill him because even though in 2 minutes the war is going to be over, we still have to shoot you now, right? That's how insane World War I is. No one knows why they're fighting.
It completely changed society, its morals, and everything.
How do you turn that into a movie?
Yeah, that makes a great book.
Makes a great trilogy.
Yeah.
You can make great music inspired by that even, but a movie has to tell a story, and that's a hard story to tell. Mm-hmm. There's no Campbellian hero's journey that you can put in World War I because you're going to be depressed at the end. That's why the book The Road did not make a good movie.
Not if you were American. You come at the very
Sergeant
end.
York.
Well, I'm not saying an American who kills 23 dudes.
No, I'm adding on to your point. The Americans are the only one, and it's Sergeant York, and that's it.
Coming at the end when things are at the worst, and Austro-Hungary is going to be spoken in London town, and you have all the guns, you have all the fresh troops, and you've been sitting back and watching this for 4 years, so you kind of know how the fight's being fought, and different innovative tactics.
Yeah.
Because they were isolationism even through World War I.
Yeah.
Isolation, America first.
But at the same time, even though we come out pretty good, America, at the end of World War I, making the story is so hard to root for a guy who's killing just some guy.
Trilogy.
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 You're just saying trilogy.
Trilogy.
What would this trilogy be?
Okay, this is an original, and I'm always going to give credit where credit is due. I saw a great 3-part BBC miniseries. It was 3 episodes. The beginning is like the very first encounter of World War One would become the Great War, or flip that. The Great War would become World War One. Thanks, Nazis. But it tells the beginning, middle, and end. So, like, the second episode was the best because it focused on these poor kids that were getting drafted. They call it something conscripted. And, like, they're like, hey, I really had anything going on, and now you're just going to fuck me over a little bit more? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, let's fight. And there were riots in London. Like, draft riots, comparable to Civil War draft riots. Conscription riots, excuse me. Historians, eat a bag of dicks. But that's how you would have to tell it. Like the beginning, middle, and end. They have to have a reason.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be our Empire, greatest sequel of all time, or Star Trek Part 2.
I think Dawn of the Dead's the best second movie in a trilogy ever, but that's just my personal opinion.
Empire Strikes Back.
But I mean, like, I just read something about like the sequels that blew the first movie away. Empire to Star
Aliens.
Wars, Aliens.
Yeah.
Toy Story 2.
Toy Story. Yeah. Okay. I'll
The
give
Toy Story trilogy is amazing.
Never saw it. I think I saw the first one.
How about the fourth movie in a series being better, Rocky? Not being better, but
Still good.
yeah.
Wait, the one where he takes down Drago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the greatest movie of all time, sir.
I'd say
That's not just on the Rocky series.
we have to do one of these about sports movies at some point, but
Can I just say that they, in Beaumont, small town, I saw the movie in a theater. They jumped up and started fucking clapping when he said, whatever the inspirational speech was at the end.
I can
Like,
change.
Yeah.
You can change.
We can change.
We can all change.
Yeah. Fucking crowd jumped up and started clapping. I'm like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Where the fuck? Oh, I'm in Beaumont. Never mind.
Now, a buddy of mine, he told me is Ricky.
Yeah.
He had a similar story saying that he had never seen a single Rocky movie. Right? He's like, I ain't gonna go see Rocky fighting the communist guy, but his friends dragged him there, and by the end of it, he's going, "Get it, Rocky! Get it!"
Yeah.
He's jumping up, standing up in his seat, just yelling at the screen.
Jesus, look at Red Dawn, man. It was so fucking good the first round. They made it again. Everybody loves that jingoist shit. Like all for the country and the cats.
And World War I is all about that nationalism, right? So again, how do you capture that?
Uncle Sam.
The thing
That's
is,
when they came up with them, wasn't it?
well, it depends.
No,
He
you don't have
really
anything to
got
sell other than pure patriotism. That's the only selling point. Is that what you're saying? That's how I took it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, we're All Quiet on the Western Front. I really want to talk about accents in movies.
So you're going to go back to the 20s?
Well,
I'm not prepared to make this argument.
All Quiet on the Western Front. It's about German soldiers, right?
Yeah.
But they don't. But it's made by an American film company.
Yeah, it was written by a German.
Okay, but the actors don't affect German accents. They just talk in their American,
And
even
British.
regional. Like
Yeah.
some guy sounds like he's from On the Honeymooners, right?
Would that also be said about how they sounded to each other? Like if they're from Southern Germany versus Northern Germany, they would probably have a different dialect.
Right, but if you made a movie today with American actors playing Germans, you wouldn't think of course you have to do a German accent.
Where's
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz going to be in this? I think.
Right.
Where's Christoph Waltz going to be in this? He's German. You got to give him your remake of All Quiet on the Western Front. Is that what we're talking about?
We're not talking about making a. No.
We can shoot it right now in
I'm
this
talking
apartment.
about what we think about when we think of accents in movies.
Christoph
like-
Waltz.
If you make a movie in the Roman Empire or any of the classical
Yeah,
world,
that's always bothered
British.
me.
you have to have a British accent.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's always bothered me, and yet if I hear a movie that doesn't have it, it sounds weird.
Did you ever see The Last Temptation of Christ?
Mm-mm.
Martin Scorsese movie about Jesus.
No, I was raised Catholic.
He didn't make anyone affect accents, so he has Harvey Keitel playing. I think he plays Judas,
Okay.
and he sounds like Harvey Keitel. It's weird.
Christopher Walken would have been sweet in that role.
He would have been.
Like as the one on the right and then Morgan Freeman on the one on the left, just so you can hear him talk.
Just a plethora of voices.
I want to hear Morgan Freeman's voice when I'm dying. Like those be like, and your wife Angela says, "I love you. Good night, sweet prince. I'm dead."
What if he says really negative stuff in the Morgan Freeman voice?
That's not cool. Why would you think that?
Like
How
you're
thoughts
dying.
exist?
It's like, David, you're going to hell, but Morgan Freeman's saying it.
No, I don't. No, sir. No. I
Did I
would
just-
not like that.
Did I just ruin your idea?
No, because
Could
Morgan
Morgan-
Freeman's awesome.
Could Morgan Freeman narrate a World War I movie?
Hell yes, he could.
Of
He
course
could.
he could.
He could explain how the war started and make it interesting just with his voice.
Back in 1991.
So the Treaty of Thebes made it happen this way that they entered the war. 20 minutes of him just.
But my friend Andy Dufresne said don't.
I hope the
Until it's
I
over.
hope the Pacific's just as blue as it is in my dreams.
He was old in a movie 20 years ago.
30 years ago, Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
Well,
Was
I
he?
don't know where to argue that.
I saw this little girl the other day that had old lady hair. It looked like, the redheaded lady in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles at the Rent Center.
The one that buys the helium-filled.
No, the little. She sounds like she's from Fargo, and she's the one that's like, "Oh, you're fucked,"
Oh yeah, the one at the counter when she tries to rent a car.
The little girl had that hair. It was the damnedest thing I ever saw.
The damnedest thing I've ever seen was you just going 6 minutes away from the topic of conversation and back to some random redheaded chick troll.
I'm
Sounded
sorry.
like. Well,
I was
sounds
talking
like
about
you're
accents, and then I got sidetracked somehow.
What happens?
Yeah. But yeah, why can't you not have accents? Just whatever your voice is. I don't care what character you're playing.
I think accents are put on.
Yeah.
Like you're forcing me to eat this cheeseburger. It's a popular expression where I'm from. No, just sound like yourself, because I've always interpreted it, I guess, through the fourth wall as that's how they sound to each other's ears. So, like, maybe their natural English speaking in Latin sounds like their English. It's a dialect.
Yeah.
Maybe I just overthought it. I don't know.
But you didn't used to care so much about the vermicitude of the accent.
I've always cared.
Because like Hunt for Red October, Sean Connery's not even trying to do a Russian accent.
What was it? The one where he was in the desert and he, let's say Lawrence of Arabia, but one could have been. And he,
The Man Who Would Be King?
yes.
Love that movie.
Yeah, so he's in the desert and he's like, yeah, no, I was educated at Oxford. That's why I sound like this. Every Sean Connery role should have that caveat. For whatever.
Well, he's retired now.
I'm Russian. You know why he's retired?
Yeah.
Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, it was so bad. He's like, "That's it. I'm
Really?
retired." Yeah.
You just had that movie. Does that take place during World War One?
Yeah.
No, it's like turn of the
it's
century.
a setup.
It's
a
turn of the
setup.
century.
Oh, okay.
It's the arming
So it's just
arming of
steampunk
Europe.
general.
Yeah. And World War One it is steampunk. It really is. You got guys like in like pointy hats with machine guns.
It defines steampunk. Coming summer 2016.
It's like we think it's the 19th century still, but we have airplanes, and that's how we're going to fight a war, and that's going to go great.
No, they didn't really use aircraft for fighting.
You know what I mean?
No, well, you're wrong. They used it for reconnaissance, surveillance, and occasional bombs.
Okay, they would occasionally bomb, and they would have firefights, dogfights. Pardon me.
Read a book, Josh.
I read lots of books. I'm a very big reader.
Well, you're big. That point is not up for debate.
I gave you that one.
Yeah. Thanks for opening the door.
So how are we doing on time?
18.
So-
and I can't read seconds.
So I want to. So here's an idea I was having. I would love to see him. So did you guys see the one with Adrien Brody?
The pianist?
The pianist.
Never saw
Yeah, I
it.
thought it was something else, but yeah, I saw it.
But you get the idea of what the movie is.
Yeah.
You're basically following a guy through World War II, his World War II
Yeah,
experience.
he's Jewish World War II experience.
Right.
And he plays the piano, not the
And
other
it's
thing. that
and
sounds like.
everything is about his experience, right? It's not about the world; it's just about what he's going through, right? I'd love to see a movie like that, following a World War I soldier.
I think that's the only way you can make a World War I movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it has to be just about what he's experiencing. Because there's no narrative, there's no story you can tell.
You could do that in like a series style, a la the Pacific, Band of Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They make 3 parts.
Right.
Thus becoming a trilogy.
Yeah, have HBO, get Tom Hanks. in it.
Finance everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spielberg,
I'd
Tom
watch
Hanks.
that. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch the hell out of that. All-star, just like Band of Brothers, all-star cast.
Yeah.
I love it.
10 episodes, 10, 12. Oh my God, 10, 11 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, if you do it proportional to the war, at least 6 of those episodes are going to be them in a trench going, "Holy shit, this fucking sucks."
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of that.
There's going to be a lot.
There
of
could be an
that.
episode dedicated to that, and that's sprinkled throughout the rest of the series. But yeah, Because there's nothing glorious. You got nothing to fight for other than, I guess I needed $150 a month, however much.
No, this is the first time you really start to see PTSD become a thing. Shellshock, as they called it. Right? Yeah. It's like, this war, this isn't a happy story. Foot. There's no inspirational music at the end of World War I for anybody.
It's a lost generation.
It's like, we won, but...
It's the fucking lost generation. That's the greatest thing out of World War I.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do something like the first 2 or 3 episodes, you're jumping around from place to place, like boot camp and all that. And then from the 4th episode to the very end, you never leave the trench. You just don't leave the trench.
No.
You should.
No, because that was the experience that they had, right?
You can expand your narrative just to make it more interesting, though.
No, in a certain sense, that's
if we were all in World War I, yeah, I would be in the trenches. But there were pilots, there was staff, there was ground staff, there was, leadership roles, there was, political machinations. I'm just a big fan of the words machinations and besmirch.
How would you structure a World War I series?
Don't besmirch World War I with your structure. Okay, I'm done with the words. It would be a guy...
Would you include the assassination?
Yeah, you have to.
That's a perfect cold open to the series.
Actually, what do you
think? Mention it.
What do you think about second episode cold open? No, like you start telling your story. If you want to expand your character, you get like 3 or 4 different characters. Expand your narrative, you get 3 or 4 characters. Yeah. And the second episode, hopefully, once they're hooked, that's when you start talking about what caused it. But you gotta make it look really stupid, and then you do the opening credits of that episode.
It could be. I see what you're saying. It could be the cold open, like the 3rd or 4th episode or something. And it has to be. Who's the guy who did it? Who shot the Archduke?
I can't pronounce it. Some Czech guy.
That's who you're following. You just follow. We don't explain who you're following.
Gavrilo Princip, or did he kill President? Was it Gavrilo Princip, or did he kill President?
It's Princip.
Okay.
So thank you.
Google that at home.
You don't know who this guy is you're following. You haven't met him yet in the series, and then you realize that's what he's doing. And
he goes into the sandwich store and he gets a sandwich, and that puts him at the corner when Franz Ferdinand comes around the corner, and he's like, "What? I still got a gun, yo! Trilogy."
That's an awesome cold open. I can see it. I can see it in my head right now.
So
and he's got to get a Reuben, and he's real pissed because they're like,
"This is our idea, people."
So Band of Brothers started after the war had already started.
At the D-Day invasion, the airborne invasion of D-Day. Yeah.
So the war, you didn't see the beginning of the war. You didn't need to see the beginning of the war.
Well, everybody knows the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So World War I, do you need to tell that story?
No, just briefly, like literally in the first scene before credits, before titling credits. Just
I don't think it's an expedition thing, like exposition thing. I think it's more of a. If you're going to tell this story, you're basically telling the story about the futility and effort of life.
Some elements of Game of Thrones.
So
I'm not going to lie. There's elements of what I'm saying in Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like,
so you need to see what the absurd reason this war started was just some guy getting a sandwich, shot some other guy.
And then next shot is some dude getting his fucking head blown off by a fucking blowtorch.
Yeah. No, exactly. That tells you that
flamethrower.
It's an absurd war.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, you got 19th century generals commanding guys with machine guns.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah.
So we've delved into this.
Would you follow a real person or make up a person?
Composites.
I think composite's the way to go with this. Yeah, because you want to force Gump of World War I.
There is no main. There's three to four characters we're following.
Okay.
Right. I mean, there could be an American. Obviously, it has to be a German. Could be a rich kid that got guilted into going, and a chick.
What if you didn't show a German?
You gotta show a German. Dude.
Why?
You gotta show the perspective. You have to have the
kind of like Sans of Evil Human.
What if you show all the other perspectives except for the Germans?
You have to throw the Germans in. It doesn't have to be a German. It could be somebody fighting with the Germans from
Austria-Hungary.
Yeah, Albania, fucking wherever. But you have to have the German perspective because you have to have the conflicting perspective to make the story make less sense, which is what we're trying. The senselessness of this. How stupid was this? Yeah.
And the American soldiers should definitely be from the Buffalo soldiers, from the African American soldiers. Because you know the great story in Houston, right?
What?
Right when we're in Houston, right before World War I's, America's entry into it. That is 1917. There was a barracks over in where Memorial Park is.
We have the Buffalo Soldier Museum. Is what you're.
I went to the Buffalo Soldiers Museum and learned this. And over there on Memorial Park, there was a black barracks, and they sent the soldiers there to get ready to go to World War I. And there was a lot of, they were the first ones in there pretty much,
I can dig it.
But in Houston, they decided they got some R&R. They had the weekend off or whatever, so they go into town to have some fun. and the racist cops start harassing them and beating them up and stuff.
Oh shit, that's perfect.
Yeah. Isn't that yeah? And
Yeah.
then so they go Billy Jack on the cops. They go back and get their guns and march on Houston. And they shoot a few cops, and it doesn't end until they finally come to their senses and surrender. Right? That's a great story.
Come to their senses.
Oh, they accidentally shoot one of their commanding officers in the dark,
Oh.
and they're like, "Oh my god, this has gone too far." And
That's
they-
an episode.
Yeah, that is good. And the ringleaders got hung, and everyone got dishonorably discharged. Yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I think that'd make a good episode. If you're
Yeah.
if you're gonna do the American specific episode, that's what you pick. That's what you pick.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Okay, and
You know,
So the thing
6
is-
years, we're going to see this shit on like fucking Stars, and we're all going to die of a mini stroke that day.
well, so
We're gonna sue the fuck out of them because we got it on tape.
so thinking in terms of stories, there's this kind of famous story about World War One. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of, you know, the Christmas soccer game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soldiers on both sides heard each other singing carols in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve or whatever, and decided to play a game of soccer, right?
Yeah.
And everything was fun. And then the very next day they go back to killing each other, basically.
What do you think? Yes.
That has to be in
Yes.
any mini. That is an episode.
Yeah.
That goes without saying that scene has to be an episode.
And what an amazing just moment, just
Yeah.
in the middle of this awful war, just this.
Okay, I got an idea. Okay, it's going to sound like a stretch. The Buffalo Soldier has to carry a message across A to B, and he has to ride shotgun in a plane. So we got an episode on the aerial warfare of World War One.
Yeah, because you don't want to focus on that because that's the only like romantic.
No, that's not the focus, but it's got to be.
Yeah, but the air war is the only thing that you can romanticize about World War One.
Yeah, Snoopy. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Baron and everything. Snoopy.
Snoopy.
Yeah, Snoopy. He was in that war. He saw some things.
Are you going to attack me?
So Josh and I, we've discussed this idea before of a Medal of Honor series, right? Like a mini series, where like an hour-long episodes each devoted to a Medal of Honor recipient, and like a Band of Brothers style, but just follow one person per episode, right?
Yeah.
Like half hours or hours?
A half hour, whatever.
My favorite one,
Yeah.
because I was reading all these stories.
Wait, all Medal of Honor? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You like that?
Fuck yeah. Have you guys ever read the plaque that describes how they got the Medal of Honor?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's amazing. Each one is amazing.
Yeah, it's like 5 sentences of a 2.5 hour action movie. It's like, yeah, and he was tending to the kitchen, and all of a sudden there was a grenade explosion. He saved 27 men's lives while holding, 2 squad automatic weapons right and left hands, mowing down the enemy.
It's like everyone is like a Rambo.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite one is actually, I think I probably told both of you this, but I think it's my favorite. They're on one of those big bombers in World War II, right? What B-50, well, it doesn't matter. One of the big bombers. All right, and they've been shot up.
52, the Mega.
Yeah, one of those big flying fortress. So
Yeah, it's B-52. Sorry.
they've been shot. They got in flak. The plane's going down. So abandoned ship. Everyone get your parachutes on and get the hell out of there, right? Well, one guy's pinned underneath something and he can't get loose, right? And I forget the guy's name. Google him. He deserves to be remembered. But not the guy stuck, but one of the last guys about to jump out of the plane looks over and he wants to help him. And he's like, I can't. And the kid's crying. The guy who's pinned, he's scared to die, right? So that guy stayed with him. Didn't have to. Had his parachute on, ready to jump out the airplane.
Well, so the plane went down, or?
Yeah, he didn't have to die. He stayed to die with that guy so he wouldn't die alone.
What?
That's a good fucking story.
That's
That's World War II, though.
Yeah. But this would be for any... We could do a Civil War one.
See,
Oh, you're talking about episodes for the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Medal of
see,
Honor.
think about how many great individual World War II stories there are, right?
Yeah.
I don't know any World War I stories.
Sergeant York is the only
Sergeant
one I
York.
know.
Yeah.
We
And
were
the
talking about it
Christmas
before
one.
you came in. And what?
The Christmas one.
Yeah.
And the Christmas
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but those are in stark... The reason they stand out is because they're like the only two positive things.
War Horse. Was that World War One?
Yeah, it was. But I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
Did you see it?
I
Well,
I
no
threw
one
it
saw
out
it.
there. I threw it out there to see if like you guys knew it was 1 or 2 because I was pretty sure it was about 1. But thank you.